Greetings, Earthlings. Today I'm reviewing a device that will exponentially improve the audio quality of your live streams and Let's Plays. So today I'm reviewing this guy over here in my rack, the DBX 286s microphone preamp / processor. And if you are interested in this device, it'll set you back around $200 on Amazon as per usual, link in the description. And for this video, I'm running the Shure SM7b into the 286s, which is then run into the Scarlett Solo with the gain set at 0%. I will do no additional processing to the audio, but I may boost it in post, so check the doobly-doo for more information. Now let's go ahead and talk about what comes in the box that I no longer have. Obviously, you're gonna get the preamp. You're also gonna get the power cord. And if I remember correctly, it did come with some documentation as well. As far as the build quality, this preamp feels absolutely amazing. It has an all-metal chassis, the dials are all really nicely attached, and on top of all of that, it is rack mountable. As far as specs, the microphone preamp offers +0 through +60 dB of gain. The line input offers -15 through +45 dB of gain. You get 48 volts of phantom power, and I'll also include a link in the description to DBX's website, which lists all the specifications of the effects in case you're interested. Now let's go ahead and do a walkthrough of the entire device and talk about how to use it. So the first section we have is the preamp section, and in this section you're going to find a gain dial which will adjust the gain of the XLR microphone input or the line level input. Then you have a meter to give you a general idea of what your input level is. You'll find a +48 volt phantom power switch to power a condenser microphone, and you'll find an 80 Hz high pass filter to roll off lower frequencies below 80 Hz to help eliminate any kind of hum or rumble caused by external stimuli. Then you have the process bypass switch, which allows you to bypass all the processing done on this device, which is useful for doing any sort of A/B comparisons. Then you have the compressor portion of the preamp, which will help limit the amount of variation in your signal. So by adding more compression, it will limit or decrease the change between whispers and screaming, which will help lots of Let's Players and streamers who go from whispering to screaming if you're playing horror games or anything like that. So in this section, you have drive, you have density, and you have a gain reduction meter. The drive dial determines the amount of gain reduction that is being applied to your signal. The density dial determines the speed of the compressor's release. 0 is going to be slow and 10 is going to be fast, and slow is typically better for vocals. Then you have the de-esser segment, which will help with those obnoxious s sounds, the sibilances. You have two controls here. You have frequency and threshold. Frequency adjusts the frequency that you're going to be applying the de-esser to, and for vocals, you're going to want something in between 4 and 8 kilohertz. And then threshold adjusts the sensitivity of the de-esser, so you'll just have to play around with this and find what sounds best for you. Then you have the enhancer portion of the preamp, which is basically just a couple of equalization controls in single dials. You have low frequency detail and high frequency detail. As you increase the low frequency detail, this is adding a boost at around 80 Hz and cutting frequencies around 250 Hz to give you a good bass boost without making the audio sound boomy or anything like that. The high frequency detail is much more confusing to me and I didn't fully understand it, but according to the manual, as you increase it, it adds high frequency spectral enhancements, which is a dynamic phase and amplitude equalization. So as you can tell, it adds a lot of clarity and a lot of high frequencies. To me, I'm not a big fan of this, so I keep it relatively low, if not completely off. Then you have the expander gate portion of the preamp, and this solves a problem that I get asked about pretty much every single day. How do I remove the background noise? There's too much background noise. Well, this will do that for you. In this portion, you have a threshold control and ratio control. The threshold dial determines the level that the gate will pass audio through to the output. So for example, let's go ahead and set this to -30 dB, and this means that everything that is louder than -30 decibels will be sent through to the output, and everything that is quieter than -30 decibels will be cut out. The ratio dial determines how the gate deals with the signals that are being cut out, as well as the release time. The lower that the ratio is, this means it's going to be more subtle and a slower release. And the higher it is, it's going to be much faster and much more in your face. Now I'm going to go ahead and increase the ratio to show you how this affects the gate. So you can tell that at this level, the line noise is essentially gone. So if you're really unhappy with the line noise you have, this is something very important to understand and dial in. Now, for me personally, I think this is a little bit too harsh. I would typically keep it somewhere around here. It just sounds more natural. It doesn't cut me off as much. And I'll give you an even more extreme example. So as I increase this, the speed of the gate's release is much more quick. So it sounds choppier. So this is absolutely unacceptable if you use this kind of setting for your vocals. You're going to need to work on this and dial it in. And somewhere around here is where I keep it for myself. And the last thing you have is a gain output, and it just allows you to set the gain one last time before you send it to your interface. On the back of the preamp, the first thing you're going to find is the plug for the power supply. Then you're going to find a 6.3 millimeter line output, which is what you're going to use to run to your interface. Then you'll find a 6.3 millimeter insert for any sort of external effects. And the last thing you'll find is a set of 6.3 millimeter or XLR inputs for the microphone or line. Okay, so now I have all the processing dialed in. I'm going to go ahead and do the process bypass so you can hear an A/B comparison. So this is how the microphone sounds without any processing. This is just the raw signal. And this is how it sounds with all the processing that I added to it. The compressor, the de-esser, the enhancer, the expander / gate, and the output. Now I have the process bypass turned on. I'm going to go ahead and drop the gain to 0% and slowly increase it so you can hear what kind of noise is generated by the DBX's preamp. Plus 15 dB. Plus 30 dB. Plus 45 dB. And plus 60 dB. So overall, I don't know any other way to put it than to say I absolutely love this device. I picked it up a couple of months ago, and it has been in my podcast signal chain ever since. Now, in terms of pros, this thing has a pretty damn quiet preamp. It has all the processing you could possibly need to improve your audio quality, and when it comes down to it, it's just damn easy to use. Now, in terms of cons, which were very difficult to come up with, I guess it's bulky, so it may not fit on some people's desks, and you don't have granular control over all of the effects. So with all that being said, I 199% recommend this device to anybody who does podcasts, let's plays, or live streams. I just think it is such a useful tool that pretty much every studio should probably have one. Alright guys, well I guess that'll do it for today. If you found this video fun, interesting, or helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you thought it sucked, thumbs down. If you want to influence the mics and gear that I review next, head over to geeksrising.com/podcastage and cast your votes there. Also, don't forget to follow me on all the social media stuff, links at the bottom of the screen. If you want more videos just like this, subscribe by clicking the logo beneath me, and I will see you all on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye.